Hi, my name is Andika Duncan. I'm the broker of Showstopper Realty, and I'm also a property manager here in Princeton and the surrounding areas in Collin County, Texas. And today I have one of my investors with me. He's a first-time investor. He just closed on his brand new home that you can see behind me. And he chose me to find a tenant for him and also for property management. Thank you, Tavlin, for joining us today.
Thanks, Andika.
So the first question would be, what made you decide to get into real estate investing? Because there might be some people thinking about getting some rental homes here in the Princeton area. And if you can tell me a little bit about your experience.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Tavleen Singh. The house you see at the back is the first investment property. The reason I chose was Princeton being the most. It's a city with the highest growth. I had some cash to diversify. I had never invested in property, so I chose buying in property. And luckily, Princeton was not too far away from where I live, somewhere in North Texas. So my story is I purchased the property in this. I closed the deal in December, and then I found Andika, or I found you through the AI search. I remember I was searching on Perplexity, the best agents for renting the apartment. I wasn't looking for necessarily sale and purchase. I found your name amongst a few others. I did call them. I had the pleasant call, and I still remember the only condition, because every agent has similar fees, more or less, so it becomes difficult for someone like me to pick. But I remember I had a very specific question: how fast can you get me or get the property rented? And you were the one who said, I'll get it rented for within 1 month, under 30 days. And that's what exactly happened. So that's where the journey with you started. So happy to have the house rented in. I think it was within a week of putting it on rent.
Yes, pretty fast. Yeah. Thank God, brand new home, so it's very desirable, and the neighborhood was also very nice. You mentioned that you asked around, and basically you wanted to find out about the fees. And I want to emphasize that the question that you asked was probably the most important question about how fast I can lease it out, because many people don't ask the right questions when they look for an agent or a property manager, because the first thought is like, how much will it cost me? But the real question is, how much money can I keep using your services, because there is no vacancy. And that's what most people miss when they start to look around. So yeah, I think we had it under contract in 12 days or something like that, but only because the tenant that came, she actually, the husband was here in Texas, the
Yes.
wife was in out of state, so they had to come and view the home in person. But pretty much the first showing, we had the tenant. So and we really didn't have a lot of showings, because after that it went under contract pretty fast.
Indeed, you're absolutely right. I remember it was on the fourth or fifth day you told me that
Yeah.
we need another extra week for the wife to come,
Yes.
and then it was under contract. So very, very, very happy with the experience and the speed at which. And I want to highlight, I think, kudos to you. Is there are many properties sitting on rent for 3 to 4 months. I think that's the average time
Yes.
in the Princeton area. And that's where my question was directed, because there can be fees, there could be cheaper options as well. Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, there were. But like you said, every month it's not on rent. I lose a pretty large amount of money.
Yes.
So it's a win-win situation if it gets on rent faster. And
Yeah.
anyway, house that's sitting closed, not being used, is detrimental for like
Yeah.
maintenance purposes. Something needs to be done.
Yeah, that's why I said that the most important question is about addressing the vacancy because, you know, we could argue 1% or 2% over another company, or the placement, the tenant placement commission, which some of the companies would offer like way less than what I do it for, but the result is that the property will sit on the market. I just took over one property yesterday. It was on the market for 83 days empty. And
Wow.
that's very painful. So I'm listing it this evening, and I'm pretty much hoping to have somebody in there in the next 2 weeks. That's what I
I think
promised
as
to
a
them.
landlord, as an investor, that's the biggest nightmare or worry,
Yeah.
that how long will it take to get on rent? And of course, then comes who the tenants are as well.
Yes. Yeah. And then let's talk about a little bit on the property management side, because I mean we just had the tenants moved in a couple months ago, and as soon as they moved in, you had to travel overseas with your families, and something happened, right? So
Yes.
we have, as you can see, the big tree behind me. Right now it's coming alive, but it wasn't alive when we closed on the home, and it was dangerous for these limbs to fall into the backyard and damage the roof in a big storm. So I suggested that we trim them like the neighbors did. And unfortunately, the person who came out, somehow he missed it, and when the limb fell down, it broke the fence.
Actually, I think the story goes, the first time I met you and we did the house inspection, that was the first time you highlighted that this tree, we should trim it. And I did the entire inspection of the house because it was a new purchase. I somehow missed it. I remember I liked that aspect that you were looking from a caretaker slash caregiver of the house rather than just another property. Now, fast forward, of course, we last month we were trying to get it cut before the storm season beginning, and I had to travel. And unfortunately, like you said, it was a mess from the pictures you showed me. But the good part was the only thing I had to do was respond back to you, meaning you were proactive in telling me that, hey, Tavleen, this has happened. I'm taking care of it. You had a plan. I mean, shit happens. That's we can't control it. But the important part is how we reduce the risk or the impact.
Yeah.
So you highlighted that, and then of course the consoling part was that, oh, you have a plan of action. So I didn't have to do anything other than yes, like discuss how long, how much would it take, how bad the impact was, and I'm back from the trip. You by in the emails, I had all the details, how much the expenses were, and it's back to the fence is back to normal as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's a I wouldn't want anybody to have such experiences, but
Right.
is- this is where, for me as a first-time investor, what does property management mean? I think it's the experience. Will happen, how fast, how proactively,
Yeah.
how cost effectively as well
Yeah.
are they fixed. So thank you for taking care
Yeah,
of
sure.
that tree.
Absolutely, yeah. We want the tenants to be comfortable. I want you to be comfortable. You trusted me with your property, so we have to handle everything as they happen, and fix the problems as fast as possible. And many times I get investors that have brand new homes, and perhaps they are out of state or maybe even overseas, and they just think that, oh, I have a builder's warranty and I don't need a property manager. But there's so many other things that can happen where you actually have to be present at the property, because that tenant is, they expect the home to run as smooth and comfortable. So that was one of the examples where unexpectedly, we didn't want to deal with this problem, but it happened and it was solved. So I have another question. As a brand new investor, you already told me that you liked Princeton because it's close to your area, and also it's an up and coming town, and it's just booming. So many people are moving into here. But walk me through the experience from closing on the house and then until you actually found me. Like, what is the thought process? What are the worries that you had up front before we actually met and got into a working relationship?
Sure. Yeah. So I closed the deal with an agent of mine who's a friend. But of course, she works in the North Texas area, putting it on rent, who comes into the property, how is the selection process of the tenants. Because each agent, I mean, you just don't manage one property. There are multiple, so I'm just adding one more. Of course, every investor or homeowner wants their property to be the highest priority. So for me, it was like get the due priority, meaning it's a house, I want to get it on rent, amongst other things you have to do. Second was, of course, the pricing. That I think because it's an investment property, money plays a very important role.
Yeah.
Third was the experience, meaning you explain me the process. Like, what does a property management do? You can search on Google, you can search on various places. When you get 100 of them, it becomes infinitely difficult to select between two similar ones based on a 15-minute conversation. So I think the conversation I had with you, Andika, was fantastic. It was calm, it was not pushy, and that was one of the aspects that made me, calm down. Okay, I can do it. No one was ready to give a guarantee that I will get your house in rent within 30 days at the right price. Everybody was like, hey, sign the contract with me. I think we even signed the contract a bit late, like when it was the picture day, etc. So long story short, it took me ever since I closed the deal. It was around Christmas. I was off with family, so it took me 2 days to talk to a bunch of, like, I think I talked to like 10 agents. You get a hang of it, and the conversation with you, the discussion with you, the process of what property management means, the details, what you will do as property management, how you will perform, and the fact that you were local. I was specifically looking for someone very close, right? Like who
Mhm.
knows the area. And the process of identification of the background checks of the upcoming tenants, right? The last thing you want to do is you get someone that's fantastic, but they destroy the house or
Right.
they have some issues. So uh, you came, I think you're a photographer, so all the pictures were done. I think you're a very, I have to call out, tech savvy. Otherwise, I don't know how you would be a different agent. I think the fact that you're using technology so innately, that it was up and marketed in the right platforms, the right environments that we got. I think it played a role. So kudos to that. So it's not just about the housing part, but technology.
Thank you.
And yeah, like the entire experience has been fantastic.
Well, thank you so much. I'm really glad that you shared your experience because I know that there will be a lot of maybe first time home like homeowners that have to rent a house because they cannot sell it because of the market today. They might have bought at the top of the market and now they are becoming landlords because it would be just a big loss to sell the house and they don't want to go through a short sale or foreclosure, or somebody that's just trying to get into the market as an investor. So I think that your experience will help them a whole lot. So thank you so much for coming today and sharing your experience.
No, actually, you raise a valid point. That timing of the market, like this 2025, I mean, this is not the best time for investment properties in general, right? Like because of renting. So you come in and in distressed times to be able to put something on rent so fast is the differentiator. I think in a booming market when everything is up,
Yeah.
everybody will be renting out because there are just so many people.
Yeah.
But in a stressful situation, I think that's where the pressure testing, the knowledge of the market,
Yeah.
your processes, that makes a difference.
Yeah, I mean the strategy is definitely long-term hold. That's where
Yes.
your money will come back. And also like 23, the average time in Princeton was 2 weeks for anybody to rent out a house.
Yeah.
Like you could have the worst marketing. Today is up to 60 to 90 days on average. So
Yeah.
yeah. But thank you,
No, but
Devlin.
that's why the timing, I mean, in the current time, getting it rented in like a week, okay, 12 days officially, but of course it was much faster.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, and thank you for such an amazing experience in renting it out and even managing the property.
Thank you so much.